Today, we're diving into 5 side hustles with a pretty bold claim that you could earn up to $550 a day or even a 6-figure income without investing a single dollar to start. So, let's break down how that's supposed to work.
The source material for this doesn't just give you a list. It kicks things off with this really direct question. It's basically asking, with all the opportunities out there online, what's really stopping you from earning more? And here's the hook, the big promise right from the start. Every single one of these 5 hustles, according to the source, can be launched with zero, zip, nada in upfront investment. We're talking no capital required, just your time and your effort. All right, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with that big $100,000 promise, then get into hustles for creators and hustles for closers. After that, we'll look at a long-term strategy, and then we'll wrap it all up with the final takeaway.
So first things first, let's talk about the potential here. The source isn't pitching ideas for a little extra pocket money. No, these are framed as legitimate paths to a 6-figure income. Let's start with the first tier of these hustles. Now, these are positioned as the most accessible entry points. They're all about tapping into that massive, still growing creator economy by offering some really fundamental, skill-based services.
First up on the list, video editing. And, this one just makes sense. With platforms like YouTube and TikTok basically running the internet, the demand for editors who can make content really stand out, well, it's just exploding.
So let's look at the actual numbers. The source suggests you can land a pretty solid retainer of about $800 to $1,500 per client. And the time it takes to learn? Surprisingly short, maybe just a week for short-form stuff like TikToks. The most important job you have is improving a creator's video retention. In other words, you keep people watching longer. That helps their videos rank higher, and that's how you prove your value.
All right, next up is a role the source calls even easier than video editing, one that requires almost zero technical know-how, becoming a Discord moderator.
Now, what's interesting here is you've got 2 very different ways to play this. You can start out as an individual, just managing a few communities and earning up to $2,000 a month for basically keeping the vibes good. But the real game changer is the agency model. Here, you hire moderators from around the world for maybe $800 a month each, and then you offer a premium 24/7 service to big clients for $5,000 a month. You just pocket the difference.
Okay, let's shift gears. We're moving on from those foundational skills to some much higher stakes roles. This next tier is for the closers. It's all about sales, it's all about systems, and, as you might guess, the potential income takes a pretty big jump.
And that brings us to the remote sales closer. You'd be working for online businesses that are selling high-ticket things like coaching programs or expensive courses. Now, the source is really clear on this one. It's hit or miss. It's definitely not for everyone because it takes a very specific personality.
And here's why it's so high stakes. The income potential is just massive. The source actually uses his own business as an example, saying his reps are pulling in $10,000 to $15,000 a month, and that's just in commission. For the absolute best in the game, that number can shoot past $30,000 a month. Okay, now for what the source calls his absolute favorite side hustle. This is the one he apparently used himself to get started, building a boutique online agency. And this is totally different from just being a freelancer. So the whole model is built on this really powerful concept he calls contractor arbitrage. The key idea is you're not the one doing the work, you're the middleman. You find high-paying clients in places like the US or the UK, and then you outsource the actual service delivery to talented contractors in other parts of the world where costs are lower.
So here's how that flow actually works. Let's say you charge a client in the US $2,500 a month for, marketing services. You then turn around and pay a skilled contractor in, say, South America or Eastern Europe $500 a month to do that exact same work. That extra $2,000 a month, that's your profit, just for managing the client and the system.
The final hustle is in a category all by itself. It's not really presented as a way to make quick cash. Instead, it's framed as a long-term strategy for building a really valuable, sustainable asset over time.
And that hustle is building a personal brand with a YouTube channel. The source describes this as having the longest tail. What that means is the payoff is delayed, but it can be absolutely huge when it finally hits. The key, he says, is to have a monetization plan from day one.
And he's not kidding when he calls it a long game. For the first 3, maybe even 6 months, you should expect to see pretty much nothing. It is all about patience. But according to the source, if you can stick it out for a year, that's when you really start to see the rewards from all that consistent effort. So, we've walked through 5 pretty different paths.
Let's pull it all together now and actually see how they stack up side by side.
This table really lays it all out. You can see the trade-offs, right? Being a Discord moderator is the easiest way to start, but the income is kind of capped unless you build that agency. On the flip side, being a remote sales closer is really hard to break into, but you can make high income right away. But look at that top right corner. According to the source, the online agency and the YouTube channel offer the absolute highest potential for both massive income and scalability.
So what we're really looking at here is a spectrum of opportunity. Everything from simple, skill-based services to really complex, scalable businesses. The source gives you the blueprints, but the final question it really leaves you with is this. Now that you know the paths, what does it actually take to walk them successfully?